Have you ever noticed how some people naturally command respect and attention, almost as if the world revolves around them, while you might find yourself questioning your own worth? What if you could change that dynamic? What if you became the person they fear losing? Not by playing games or pretending to be someone else, but by standing tall, knowing your true value, and making it impossible for anyone to ignore your worth? Imagine instead of seeking validation, they're the ones lying awake at night, worried about losing you. Just think about how incredible that shift would be. You've been the one holding on, wondering if you're enough, doing everything to stay in their favor. But now the tables have turned. They're the ones anxious about keeping you in their life. How empowering is that? Picture the transformation from someone seeking approval to someone whose value is undeniable, someone they can't afford to lose. Well, this video is going to hit hard as we dive deep into ancient Stoic strategies, passed down by wise thinkers like Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, and Seneca, whose teachings still resonate powerfully in our fast-paced world. These timeless lessons will equip you with Namir. Let's shift your perspective for a moment and realize just how much people stand to lose when they underestimate you. This isn't about performing tricks to grab attention. You're not a magician pulling rabbits out of a hat. It's about cultivating genuine, unshakable confidence and building an inner strength so powerful that others can't help but recognize your true worth. You won't be chasing approval anymore. Instead, you'll become someone they simply can't afford to lose. So here's your mission for today. Drop a comment below with the phrase, "You will fear losing me." Go ahead, put it out there for everyone to see and let the universe know that you're no longer questioning your worth. You're stepping into your power, making it clear that your value is undeniable. Let others realize what's at stake. Type it out and let this message resonate, not just for you, for everyone watching. Let's make it echo loud and clear. Now, my Stoic friends, let's dive into something real. Today's video isn't just another talk. It's inspired by a true story from one of our subscribers, Nora. She shared her experience in the comments, and we knew it was a story that needed to be told. Nora's journey is raw and emotional, showing just how transformative Stoicism can be when life feels like it's unraveling. We reached out to Nora, and with her permission, we're bringing her powerful story to you today. We asked for Nora's permission to share her story in this video because we knew how crucial it was to offer guidance to others who might be in a similar situation. Nora kindly allowed us to use her experience to reach out to those struggling with the same kind of pain. This story needs to be told because too many people feel trapped in a dark place, not realizing that there is a way out. Nora was in a really tough spot. She had invested everything into her relationship, time, love, and energy, hoping that he would finally recognize her worth. She was desperate for him to notice, to care, to show even the slightest sign that she mattered. But every effort she made was met with silence, or, even worse, indifference. Night after night, she lay awake staring at the ceiling, wondering what she had done wrong. Tears would fall as she replayed moments where she thought things were improving, only for him to distance himself again. There were days when she stood in front of the mirror, trying to convince herself that she was enough, only to break down under the weight of his coldness. The sight of his texts, short and disinterested, was enough to send her spiraling, each message a painful reminder that he wasn't truly seeing her. She tried everything to keep him close, planning special dates, sending thoughtful messages. Nothing seemed to make a difference. Thoughtful messages, even sacrificing her own needs just to make him happy, became her routine. But no matter what she did, it felt like shouting into a void, with the pain of his indifference becoming unbearable. One night, after yet another plan was canceled with a hollow apology, she finally broke down completely. Sitting on her bed, knees hugged tightly, she cried harder than she ever had before, feeling as if she were fading away. The loneliness was overwhelming, and she started to believe that the only way to make him understand her pain was to hurt herself. In that moment, she considered doing something irreversible, something that might force him to see her worth. But the universe had a different plan for Nora. In that moment of utter despair, something shifted. She stumbled upon Stoicism almost by accident. like the universe was throwing her a lifeline. As she sat there, tears streaming down her face, feeling completely lost, something unexpected happened. She found a post about Stoicism, a philosophy she had never given much thought to before. It was as if the universe was offering her a way out. She began reading about Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, and suddenly, everything started to change. Nora began reading about Marcus Aurelius and other ancient philosophers who had faced their own struggles, but discovered strength within themselves. One quote struck her like a bolt of lightning: "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." It was in that moment Nora realized that she had been drowning in her own thoughts, believing that her worth depended on how much he noticed her. But Stoicism offered her a new perspective. Her value wasn't tied to his attention. It was something she possessed within herself. With this newfound understanding, Nora began to transform. She stopped waiting for his texts and stopped rearranging her life around him. Instead, she focused on herself, on her growth and happiness. She returned to running, a passion she had abandoned to spend more time with him. She joined new clubs, met new people, and experienced a sense of freedom she hadn't felt in years. Then, as if the universe wanted to throw in one final twist, something unexpected happened. He noticed. After weeks of ignoring her and taking her for granted, he suddenly became interested again. He saw the glow she had regained, confidence she now carried. He started sending her messages, trying to reconnect, asking to see her. But this time, everything was different. Nora wasn't the same person anymore. She no longer felt the desperate need for his attention. In fact, she realized she didn't need it at all. She had discovered something far more precious: her independence. No matter how much he seemed to want to re-enter her life, she wasn't about to give up the peace and strength she had worked so hard to achieve. She smiled, realizing she had become the person they fear losing. But she was too busy enjoying her newfound freedom to care. Nora had transformed, and for the first time, she wasn't afraid of being left behind. She was content with who she was, with or without him. So my friends, consider yourselves fortunate. Just like the universe intervened for Nora, it's doing the same for you. This is your moment to thrive, to reclaim your worth, and to stop seeking validation from those who don't deserve it. You're here for a reason, and that reason is to discover that your value isn't tied to someone else's approval. It's time to turn your pain into power, and the universe has brought you to this video for exactly that purpose. Now, let's dive into the 8 Stoic strategies you need to implement to transform yourself into someone they fear losing. The Stoic strategies we're about to explore come directly from our friend Nora. Thanks to her bravery and insight, we now have a clear path for transforming despair into empowerment. These are the very steps that helped Nora break free from the need for external validation and turned her pain into personal strength. Now it's your turn. Grab a pen, because you'll want to take notes on these Stoic principles that have the potential to change your life for the better. Let's dive in with the first strategy: letting go of the fear. Nora emphasized how important it is to eliminate the fear of them leaving you. This step is crucial, because as long as you're afraid of losing someone, you're giving away your power. It might seem counterintuitive. You may think that if you want to keep someone, you should do everything in your power to hold on. That seems logical, right? But in reality, it's that very fear pushing them away. Let's break it down. Fear in relationships often manifests as desperation, and desperation is never attractive. The more you fear losing someone, the more your actions become this bet. Your actions become controlled by that fear, causing you to lose touch with who you truly are. Instead of acting from a place of confidence and genuine connection, you start making decisions solely to keep them around. Every word you say, every gesture you make is calculated, not out of love, but out of fear. And trust me, they can sense that. It's like trying to hold on to water. The tighter you grip, the more it slips through your fingers. Nora experienced this struggle firsthand. She was constantly anxious about whether her partner would leave, overthinking every conversation, worrying if she was being interesting enough or saying the right thing. Her fear became the driving force behind every interaction. And guess what? The more she feared losing him, the more distant he became. That's when she realized that her fear was creating the very situation she desperately wanted to avoid. Picture this. You're with someone you care deeply about, but instead of enjoying the moment, your mind is filled with doubts like, am I being boring? Or, what if they're not interested anymore? You start overanalyzing every word, and that anxiety becomes apparent. The connection you're trying to build starts to fade because fear is guiding the conversation. This is exactly what happened to Nora, and it's a common experience for many. This experience is all too familiar for many of us. Here's where Stoicism offers a powerful shift in perspective. One of the fundamental teachings of Stoicism is to concentrate on what you can control. Stoic philosophers like Epictetus emphasize that while we can't control external events or how others perceive us, we do have control over our own reactions to these situations. As Epictetus put it, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it matters. Instead of obsessing over whether someone will stay or leave, the focus should be on your own actions, mindset, and behavior. How do you overcome this fear? The first step is accepting that whether someone stays or leaves is beyond your control. You can't force someone to remain in your life or dictate their feelings, but you can live in a way that aligns with your values and self-worth. It's crucial to let go of the idea that their presence determines your value. Your worth exists independently of them. Nora began to make this shift. She stopped trying to please her partner at every turn and started focusing on herself, her hobbies, her interests, her well-being. Gradually, the fear that once dominated her thoughts began to dissipate. She came to understand that she was valuable whether or not he noticed. The more she released her fear, the more confident and secure she became. Her partner noticed this change as well. She was no longer clinging to him or seeking his approval. And that shift made her more attractive. Here's a light-hearted analogy to make this clearer. Think about a cat. Have you ever tried chasing a cat? The more you chase it, the more it runs away. But when you sit back and relax, what usually happens? The cat comes to you. That's exactly how fear operates in relationships. When you chase someone out of fear that you might lose them, they tend to pull away. But when you relax, stop worrying, and focus on just being yourself, they're naturally drawn to you. Now you might be thinking, but what if the fear feels overwhelming? I get it. Letting go of that fear isn't easy, especially if you've been hurt before. Maybe you've been abandoned or ignored, and that fear has taken hold deep inside. But every time you confront that fear and refuse to let it control you, you grow stronger. Each time you remind yourself that your value isn't dependent on whether someone stays, the grip of that fear loosens. As Marcus Aurelius, another wise Stoic philosopher, said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is the heart of Stoicism, focusing on what you can control and finding strength in that. Your true strength comes from within, not from external validation. When you stop worrying about whether someone might leave you, you reclaim your power. And that's when they start to recognize your real value. So, let's affirm this together. I release fear. It's a simple but powerful statement. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and feel that fear begin to lift. Remember, your worth isn't dependent on anyone else's actions. You are valuable just as you are. If you're ready to embrace this change, type I release fear in the comments. Let the universe know that you are stepping into your power and letting go of the fear that once held you back. You're no longer afraid. Now it's up to them to realize what they stand to lose. That's the first step. Ready for the next one? Let's keep moving forward. Number 2. Own a pet. You might be curious about how this relates to becoming someone they fear losing. Nora's story provides a great example. At her lowest point, feeling isolated and desperate for her partner's attention, Nora's world seemed to revolve around whether he noticed her. But everything shifted when she got her dog, Max. Suddenly, Nora wasn't alone anymore. She gained companionship, love, and a sense of purpose. Owning a pet is more than just having a cute furry friend. It's about creating a life where you don't rely on someone else's validation to feel fulfilled. Your pet becomes a consistent source of love and companionship, providing a sense of security. You're no longer waiting for someone else to fill that emotional gap. Nora discovered this with her dog, Max. Every day, she had someone who was genuinely thrilled to see her. without any conditions attached. Max didn't care if she was having a tough day or if someone wasn't giving her attention. It was always there, overflowing with love and joy. This transformed how Nora perceived herself and her life. Having a pet reminds you that you're never truly alone. It shifts your focus away from anxiously awaiting someone's attention or approval. Instead, you spend quality time with your pet and enjoy life in a new way. You feel loved and needed, and that sense of security extends into other areas of your life. Here's why this approach works. When you feel secure and loved, even if it's from a pet, you stop acting out of desperation. Desperation and loneliness are unattractive. They make us clingy, anxious, and overly dependent on others. When you own a pet, you're continually reminded that you're loved and valued, even if the person you're interested in isn't giving you attention at the moment. This consistent affirmation of love boosts your confidence, and confidence, as you might know, is magnetic. Imagine you're out with friends, and your thoughts keep drifting to someone you're trying to impress. Instead of fixating on their actions, you focus on enjoying the present moment. When you get home, you're welcomed by your dog or cat, someone who's genuinely excited to see you. This simple act of unconditional affection can completely shift your mood and outlook on the day. You no longer depend on a text or call for your sense of fulfillment, because you have a loyal companion who's always there for you. This newfound confidence and peace of mind transform how you interact with others. Nora experienced this firsthand. Owning a pet not only gave her a sense of purpose, but also shifted her focus away from her relationship. Caring for Max meant she wasn't constantly preoccupied with herself and her partner. Instead, she had responsibilities, routines, and joy that didn't hinge on her partner's action. This realization that she could be happy and fulfilled on her own was crucial in making her partner notice the new Nora, someone who wasn't waiting around for his attention. The Stoic philosopher once said that true happiness comes from enjoying the present without anxiously depending on the future. Owning a pet helps you stay grounded in the present. Instead of waiting nervously for someone to validate you, you begin to savor the unconditional love and companionship your pet offers. Let's wrap up this step with a powerful affirmation. I am never alone. Embrace the strength in knowing that you're surrounded by love, even if it comes from your pet. You are enough, and your happiness isn't dependent on someone else's approval. If you already have a pet, share your story in the comments. How has having a pet transformed your life? And if you're ready to embrace this step, type the affirmation, I am never alone below. Let the universe know that you've created a life full of love and companionship, whether or not you receive attention from someone else. That's step 2. Ready to move on? Let's continue building this journey together. Now, on to step 3. Act as if you don't care. This is a strategy Nora discovered through experience, and it made a significant difference for her. Acting as if you don't care isn't about feigning indifference. Acting as if you don't care isn't about pretending or playing games. It's about freeing yourself from the need for constant validation. It's about fully living your life regardless of what someone else thinks or does. In Nora's case, she used to hang on every little sign of attention from her partner. He texted, she felt good. He didn't, she'd anxiously wonder if she had done something wrong. Her entire focus was on his reactions, which caused her to stop living her own life. But as she embraced Stoicism, she began to shift her mindset. Instead of seeking his approval, she started focusing on her own happiness and goals. That's when everything changed. When Nora stopped treating his attention as the center of her world, she noticed that he started paying more attention to her. Why? Because she was no longer chasing after him. Here's why this works. When you stop seeking someone's validation, you become more attractive. Think about it. When someone is constantly available and seeking attention, it can be overwhelming. But when someone is confidently living their own life and pursuing their own interests, they become intriguing. That's exactly what happened to Nora. By acting as if she didn't need his approval, Nora grew more confident and independent, and this newfound energy drew him back in. She stopped fixating on his actions, and this shift in her energy made her more magnetic. Now, this doesn't mean you should be cold or distant. It's about shifting your mindset from I hope they like me, to I'm living my life, and if they fit in, great. Not, I'm still content. It's about freeing yourself from the emotional roller coaster of constantly seeking validation. Epictetus said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It's achieved by disregarding things beyond our control. Their opinions are out of your control. Your mindset is entirely within your power. When you act as if you don't care, you're liberating yourself from worrying about what you can't control and focusing on living for yourself, not for their attention. Let's affirm this together. I release the need for validation. Feel the relief as you stop chasing their approval and start living for yourself. That's step 3. Ready for the next one? Let's keep building that unshakable confidence. Moving on to strategy number 4. Redefine success. This powerful shift in perspective is something that completely transformed Nora's life. When we think of success, especially in relationships, we often measure it by how others perceive us. Whether they love us, stay with us, or give us attention. But Stoicism offers a different perspective. Success isn't about external validation. It's about personal growth and inner fulfillment. So, how does redefining success relate to making others fear losing you? Here's the key. When you stop letting others define your worth, you become truly unstoppable. People are naturally attracted to those who are confident in their own journey and don't need constant approval to feel accomplished. When you redefine success on your own terms, it becomes evident that you're not reliant on them for your happiness. That's when they start to fear losing you. Take Nora's story as an example. Before embracing Stoicism, Nora tied her sense of success to her partner's attention. If he was happy with her, she felt successful. But when he pulled away, she felt like a failure. She constantly sought his validation, believing that if she could just please him enough, it would mean success. But it wasn't working, and she felt empty. Then Nora made a change. She redefined what success meant to her. Instead of measuring her worth by his reactions, Nora shifted her focus to her own inner development, her health, goals, and passions. She came to understand that true success wasn't about earning someone else's approval, but about becoming the best version of herself. As she invested in her own growth, her concern over his opinions diminished, and he took notice. Nora wasn't chasing him anymore. She was flourishing on her own, which made him see her true value. When you redefine success based on your own progress, you stop seeking external validation. That's where the magic happens. Instead of waiting for someone else to affirm your worth, you live for yourself and pursue what matters to you. This sense of independence and inner fulfillment is powerful, and others will notice, especially when they see you no longer need their approval. Seneca, a wise Stoic philosopher, said that true happiness is enjoying the present without anxious dependence on the future. By redefining success, you stop anxiously waiting for someone else to validate your worth and realize you've always been enough. This newfound self-assurance is what makes others fear losing you. So let's conclude this step. Let's tackle strategy number 5. Become busy. This one's a real game changer, and Nora can attest to its effectiveness. When you're fixated on someone else, constantly waiting for their texts and preoccupied with their every move, you're giving them too much mental space. Key is to get busy and fill your life with meaningful activities. Why does this work? People are naturally attracted to those who are active, productive, and lead fulfilling lives. When you're engaged in your own pursuits and passions, you have less time to obsess over their actions or thoughts. Your focus shifts to your own goals, growth, and happiness, and that energy becomes magnetic. It signals that your world doesn't revolve around them, and that can make them realize they might be missing out. Let's move on to strategy number 5. Get busy. This one is transformative, and Nora's experience shows just how powerful it can be. Previously, Nora would anxiously wait by her phone, hoping for a message from her partner. But once she threw herself into new interests, focused on her career, and spent time with friends, everything changed. She stopped fixating on her partner, which allowed her to regain a sense of control. And guess what? Her partner noticed the shift, finding her newfound independence and busyness more intriguing. Think of it like this. Imagine yourself as a bustling restaurant. When a place is always busy, people are curious about why it's so popular. On the other hand, An empty restaurant doesn't attract much interest. Similarly, when you fill your life with activities and passions, you become that sought-after spot, interesting and full of energy. So dive into what makes you happy, whether it's starting a new hobby, focusing on fitness, spending time with loved ones, or learning something new. Focus should be on enriching your own life, not waiting around for someone else. That's step 5. Let's keep the momentum going. Ready for the next one? Let's go. Strategy number 6. Plan a trip with your pet. Might seem unconventional, but it's incredibly effective. Nora found that organizing small adventures with her dog, Max, completely transformed her mindset and energy. When she focused on creating enjoyable experiences with her pet, she noticed a significant shift. Her thoughts no longer constantly centered on her partner. Instead, she was immersed in living her own life, which brought her a newfound sense of freedom and joy. Why does this work? Straightforward. By engaging in activities that bring you happiness, like a trip with your pet, you shift away from relying on someone else for your joy. You're crafting your own experiences, and that positive energy is contagious. People are naturally attracted to those who are fully engaged in their own lives. And that's precisely what planning an outing with your pet can achieve for you. Taking your pet on a trip, whether it's a weekend escape or a day hike, is more than just a break from routine. It's about reconnecting with yourself, savoring the present moment, and building memories that don't hinge on anyone else's presence. Pets remind us of life's simple pleasures, and by focusing on these moments, you'll find yourself more centered and less dependent on external validation. Strategy number 7. Embrace Stoicism fully. Alright folks, we're almost at the finish line, and this next strategy is fundamental. Embracing Stoicism fully was a game changer for Nora, and it can be for you as well. Stoicism isn't just a philosophy. It's a way of living that keeps you steady regardless of the chaos around you. By fully committing to Stoicism, you equip yourself with the tools to handle rejection, fear, and uncertainty, poise, and resilience. Nora discovered how Stoicism could shift her entire approach to life. It wasn't about eliminating challenges, but about mastering how she reacted to them. This mindset allowed her to remain balanced and centered, regardless of external circumstances. The more she integrated Stoic principles, the more she found peace and strength in her daily life. Now let's wrap up with an affirmation. I embrace Stoicism fully. Share it in the comments if you're ready to take control of your life with Stoic wisdom. Trust me, it's transformative. That's step 7, and we're almost there. Ready for the final strategy? Let's keep moving forward. Before Nora adopted Stoicism, every minor action or inaction from her partner could sway her mood dramatically. He seemed distant, she felt dejected. If he was attentive, she felt elated. This constant emotional upheaval took a toll on her. Once she began practicing Stoicism, she learned to release her grip on things beyond her control, like her partner's feelings, and instead focus on her own responses. Stoicism is potent because it helps you detach from external factors and concentrate on your own reaction. The philosophy teaches that while you can't dictate other people's actions, you can control your own responses. By embracing Stoicism, you stop stressing over whether someone will leave or stay, and you cease allowing their moods to affect your happiness. Instead, you discover strength within yourself. This internal calm and self-assurance is what makes others fear losing you. Nora's transformation was profound. She no longer fixated on whether her partner noticed her. Instead, she concentrated on living a life true to her values, remaining steady amidst uncertainty, and managing her own emotional state. This newfound confidence and tranquility made her more appealing than ever. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Here's a rephrased version. Strategy number 8. Always remember your worth. We've reached the final strategy, and this is the core of everything Nora discovered on her journey. The most crucial lesson you can take away. No matter what happens or who comes and goes in your life, you must remember that you are valuable. Here's why this is essential. When you acknowledge your own worth, you stop relying on others for validation. You no longer seek their approval because you recognize that you're already enough. You stop settling for less than you deserve. When you carry yourself with self-respect and confidence, others can't help but notice. They begin to fear losing you because they see someone who truly values themselves, an incredibly rare and powerful trait. In her most challenging times, Nora lost sight of this truth. She was so focused on seeking validation from her partner that she forgot her own value. Here's a rephrased version. Nora was so fixated on her partner and so desperate for his approval that she lost sight of her own worth. She let his opinions and actions dictate how she felt about herself. However, as she began embracing Stoicism and shifting her focus inward, something changed. Nora realized that her value wasn't dependent on his affection. It was something she possessed all along. She started affirming to herself, "I am valuable, regardless of anyone's approval," and this belief transformed her life. No longer rattled by her partner's behavior, her newfound inner strength made her more appealing than ever. Knowing your worth is evident in everything you do. As Epictetus once said, "First, know who you are, and then dress yourself accordingly." Understanding your value is the cornerstone of living a fulfilling and empowered life. Let's wrap this up with an affirmation. I am valuable. Simple but profound. Drop it in the comments if you're ready to embrace and live by the truth of your own worth. That's step 8, folks. You now have all the tools you need. If you've made it this far, let us know you're committed to this journey by commenting, "Keep it up." We appreciate your participation and look forward to hearing how these strategies work for you. Here's a quick reminder. 8 powerful strategies to help you become the one they fear losing. Now it's time to take action. If any of these strategies resonated with you, start incorporating them into your life today. And if you found this video valuable, please like and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on future content. Thanks for watching, and stay stoic.